The day I saw the black-eyed children remains etched in my mind, its haunting memory as vivid as the night I first encountered them. It all started with the droning rain against the window pane. The small town I lived in was a sleepy one, dotted with colonial homes and tree-lined streets. It was one of those places where everyone knew everyone, and life moved at a leisurely pace. My own home was an old Victorian with creaky floors and vast, drafty rooms, a far cry from the modern apartment I had moved out of after my divorce. I was trying to find myself, to come to grips with the heartbreak and betrayal, hoping the peace and solitude of the town would offer me solace. I was working from home that night, my desk illuminated only by the glow of the computer screen and the dim lamp beside me. It was silent, save for the pattering rain and the occasional rumble of thunder. The weight of loneliness pressed down on me, a poignant reminder of dinners once shared and conversations that no longer echoed within these walls. Then came the knock. It was soft, hesitant. I glanced at the old grandfather clock. It was past 10 p.m. Who could be at the door at this hour? Pulling the front door open, I was met with the sight of two children, a boy of about 10 and a younger girl, maybe 6. They stood shoulder to shoulder, heads bowed slightly so that their faces were shadowed by the hood of their tattered raincoats. "Can we come in?" the boy whispered, his voice oddly monotone. "We're lost and scared." My heart ached with a sudden pang of empathy. My own personal struggles of feeling lost and out of place resonated deeply. But as I was about to usher them in, the streetlight behind them flickered, casting a fleeting glow upon their faces. Their eyes. They were as black as the void, endless and devoid of emotion. Panic surged within me. I had heard stories of the black-eyed children, dismissed them as just tales. But here they stood. "Can we come in?" The girl echoed her brother's question, her voice unsettlingly calm. Instinct told me to slam the door shut, but my feet felt rooted to the spot. I tried to summon words, but my voice was trapped in my throat. "Why are you out alone?" I finally croaked out. The boy lifted his head a little, enough for me to see the faintest hint of a smirk. "We need to call our parents." I was about to retort when a memory from my past washed over me. I recalled a night from my childhood, caught in a storm, separated from my parents. The fear, the cold, the desperation. Shaking away the unease, I stepped aside. "All right, come in." Once inside, they stood still, not moving towards the phone or taking off their raincoats. Their stillness was eerie, and every instinct in me screamed that I had made a grave error. "Would you like something warm to drink?" I offered, trying to diffuse my growing unease. "No," replied the girl. "We just want to call our parents." "Then use the phone." I pointed towards the landline, my patience wearing thin. The boy moved first, picking up the receiver, pausing for a moment, then placing it back down. "It's dead," he whispered. My blood ran cold. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the room with a stark white light, and the rumble of thunder felt like the very house was trembling in fear. In that fleeting brightness, I noticed something that sent shivers down my spine. The reflection of the children in the mirror hanging in the hallway. There was none. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice trembling. No answer. Suddenly, the power went out. Darkness enveloped the room, the only light emanating from the occasional lightning. I fumbled for the flashlight, its beam piercing the gloom. The children were gone. I searched the house frantically, room by room, corner by corner. They had vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared. Hours seemed to pass before I finally mustered the courage to step outside. The rain had ceased, replaced by an ominous silence. And then, from the corner of my eye, I spotted them, standing by the road, their black eyes staring into the distance. As I watched, a car approached, slowing down beside them. The driver, a familiar face, was my neighbor, Mrs. Jensen. I yelled out a warning, running towards the car, but she had already let them in. The car drove off, leaving me standing there, drenched and shivering. The next morning, I rushed to Mrs. Jensen's house, dread weighing heavily on my chest. To my surprise, she opened the door, alive and well. "I saw you pick up those kids last night," I blurted, relief and confusion swirling within me. "Oh, those poor darlings," she smiled. "They were so sweet. Just needed a call to their parents. My cell worked just fine. But their eyes," she laughed, "just a trick of the light, and probably your wild imagination." Relief washed over me. Maybe it was all in my head, a manifestation of my lonely, fractured state. Weeks went by. The incident faded, becoming just another memory. Until one night as I was heading to bed, I found a note slipped under my door. "Thank you for letting us in." Chills raced down my spine. I turned, scanning the room, half expecting to see those pitch-black eyes staring back at me. But I was alone. The black-eyed children had left my home, but they never truly left me. Every knock, every shadow, every child's laughter carried a haunting reminder of that stormy night. They had gone, but the mystery they left behind was far from over. I was left with more questions than answers. Were they real or a figment of my imagination, a product of my personal struggles and fears? I may never know. But one thing was certain: every time I heard a knock on my door, my heart would skip a beat, wondering if those black eyes were on the other side, waiting to be let in again.